My name is Olivia, and for most of my life, I believed my father would always protect me. I was wrong. My younger brother Ethan had always been his favorite. Whenever Ethan needed money, Dad helped him. Whenever I needed help, Dad told me I was strong enough to handle things myself. I tried not to let it bother me until one night when Dad called me and said, "Olivia, I need you to move out." I thought he was joking. "What?" I asked. He told me Ethan needed the house because he was getting married and wanted to live there with his new wife. I reminded Dad that I had been paying part of the mortgage for years. He simply said, "Your brother needs it more than you do." I was furious, but I packed my things and left. The next morning, I received a phone call from a lawyer. "Are you Olivia Carter?" the woman asked. "Yes." She told me she had something important to discuss about my father's house. My heart started racing. I asked what she meant. She said, "Your father came to our office yesterday, and he left instructions that you should receive this information immediately." I couldn't understand. Then she told me something that completely changed everything. The house wasn't actually my father's. Years earlier, my grandfather had purchased it and placed it in a family trust. And according to the documents, the house belonged to me. I was stunned. I asked why my father had been collecting mortgage payments for me. The lawyer went silent for a moment before saying, "That's something you need to ask him." I immediately drove to my father's house. Ethan was there too, celebrating his upcoming wedding. I walked inside and asked Dad one question. "Why did you make me pay for a house that belonged to me?" His face went completely pale. Ethan looked confused. Dad finally admitted that my grandfather had left the house to me because he believed I was the responsible child. My father had hidden the documents because he wanted Ethan to eventually have the property. I couldn't believe it. For years, I had paid thousands of dollars toward a house that was legally mine. Then my father had tried to kick me out of it. Ethan looked at Dad and said, "You told me the house was mine." Dad didn't answer. That was when Ethan realized he had been lied to too. My father tried to apologize, but I wasn't ready to forgive him. I told him, "You didn't just choose Ethan over me. You stole years of my life because you thought I wouldn't fight back." I left that day and contacted the lawyer. Within weeks, the ownership was officially transferred into my name. Ethan eventually moved into an apartment with his fiancée, and my father had to face the consequences of what he'd done. Months later, he came to my door and asked for another chance. I looked at him and said, "Dad, I spent my whole life thinking I wasn't your favorite because I wasn't good enough. Now I realize I was simply the child you thought you could take advantage of." He started crying. I didn't slam the door in his face, but I didn't invite him inside either. Because sometimes forgiveness doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. Sometimes it means finally choosing yourself.